Friends, I hope you are ready for all the first impressions because today is day 1 of 2 days. I am sharing all my thoughts on brand new manga volume 1s. Hello friends, happy Friday. So very excited that you're here. I'm so excited to be filming this video. I feel like I have sort of been MIA on social media, but I promise I have been reading all of the things. This is, as I said, day 1. I'll be sharing 3 different titles. Tomorrow I'll share 3 more. And I'm very excited to talk about all of these. And I feel like 2 of them are pretty different than what I typically read. Yeah, so the 3 titles I'm going to be reviewing today is Volume 1 of Shugo Chara, the 20th anniversary edition. Y'all, this edition is absolutely beautiful. It is stunning. The next one is Delirium. I love this cover. This is actually the International Manga Award winner, I believe, for this year. I know that she did one. I do have the cover of that. And then last but not least, The Prince's Keeper. And I did decide to do a first impression on this. If you saw one of my earlier videos, I'll leave a link here if I can. I think it was me sharing what my top 5 most anticipated releases of this month. And I mentioned in that video I had read this before, but I'll be honest, I don't remember anything. Like once I started reading, I only remember like the 3-4 opening pages and that was it, y'all. So it felt like I was coming in blind and not really knowing what to expect outside of what the blurb had said. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm gonna do the order that I read them, though I do believe this is my favorite read, and that was Shugo Chara. Oh my goodness. I have some thoughts on this, and yeah, let's talk about what this book's about in case if you're not familiar with it, because this was my first experience with this manga. I've never seen the anime. I have seen Amu, like I've seen figures of her, I've seen the occasional pin of her. In fact, I even have stickers of her and some of the other characters. I didn't know who they were. I was like, these are cute. This is by one of my favorite sticker shops on Instagram is where I follow her. I don't know if she's on Etsy, but I love anything that she puts out. And I'm like, well, hey, I want to try this manga, so I'm gonna get the stickers, which I guess goes against my rule of not buying merch for series I haven't read yet, but that's beside the point. I have officially read it now and I loved it. This is about our main female lead. Her name is Amu and she doesn't typically look that cheery. She looks like this. She's known as the cool girl, and I think the blurb says with a spicy personality because she's not afraid to call people out and say, hey, are you dumb? She does that like 2-3 times. She looks really cool. I am not gonna lie. I mean, she has this like punk, there was a certain term that they use in the manga that she has. It's like a cute punk vibe and I totally dig it. I think she looks just, again, really, really cool. And so she has this, I guess you would say, this vibe, this mood and everything. But the thing is, when she is in her bedroom by herself, we see her wishing to be somebody else. She wants to be nicer and kinder and not be where she just looks so cool, basically. And she wants to be, honestly, how she looks on the cover, where she's very cheery and bright and enthusiastic. That's what she wants to be. And so there is this like TV program that's on. I don't know what she was, but Amu's like, that's just a bunch of hogwash because she was talking about guardian spirits. And then crazy enough, Amu makes a wish in her bedroom when she's by herself later on, even though she totally was like, that's dumb, that's not real, it's not gonna happen. And she's like, well, on the off chance that this is real, I would like to be somebody else. And she has 3 eggs that they don't pop up, but she sees when she wakes up that she has 3 eggs. And she's like, there's 3 eggs here, but I'll bring them with me to protect them. Little does she know that her prayer is going to be answered through these 3 guardian characters within these eggs. Each of them is different. I don't know if I should talk about them or not because I don't know how much of that would be spoilers, but they're so adorable. And so really this story begins of Amu having these guardian characters help her to be that person she wants to be in her heart. Y'all, I'll be honest, when I came into this, not gonna say that I thought I wasn't gonna like it, that's not what I was gonna say. Sorry, that sounds sort of negative. I didn't mean it that way. I put in my Goodreads review that if somebody were to tell me before I read this that I would be very impacted as an adult, despite that this manga you can tell is geared towards a younger female audience, I would have been skeptical. Shame on me. Shame on me. Has manga not taught me anything that we do not judge series or covers or ideas about these manga? Because any manga can transform your life. I mean, that's why my username on Instagram is Lara Meets Manga, because I genuinely feel when I got into manga, I read life-changing life-changing series that have made me a better person today. And I read this, and y'all, I cried. I was very emotional when I read this, and I was very caught off guard. And I said, well, maybe it's I'm tired and I'm just a little bit emotional. Maybe it's just life being really crazy. I've been having to do a lot of adulting. And I'm like, yes, that could be some of it. But I feel like the heart of this story goes beyond age, goes beyond younger readers, regardless if they're male or female, of their, in their 90s or they're just 10. There was something so powerful of seeing Amu be this young woman who is becoming a magical girl and seeing parts of my old self that really shook me and rocked me, because Amu doesn't want to necessarily be this cool girl that seems really edgy. No, that's not what she wants, but people have said, well, hey, that's what she is. Her parents have said, oh, you look cute that way, you act great that way. And rather than pushing back at these ideas that have been pushed onto her, I mean, they're not necessarily bad, but that's not who the real her is, or at least who she wants to be. Seeing her just go with it, even though inside she's sort of a hot mess, reminded me of just less than 10 years ago, of where I was very similar, though not in this cool girl way that Amu is. I think she's very cool and rocks the look. Mine was really centering down to people pleasing, and I got to a point where I could no longer mask and keep up this idea of what I felt everybody around me expected me to be, where I started genuinely hating myself, like to the point I hated looking in the mirror. I didn't want to see who I was, because I'm like, that's not who I want to be, but this is who I appear to be. And I got really, really depressed. One of the most depressing times of my life. I got help. But seeing Amu, like, she's a magical girl, y'all. Out of any, and yes, I haven't read many magical girl series, I'll be honest, but I do feel out of any of the magical girl series I've read, Amu is by far the most relatable. And that's why I feel like it doesn't matter that she is a young girl in elementary school. It doesn't matter that this manga is geared towards younger girls, because I identified with that struggle where I'm like, Amu, I get it. It's just, I didn't have any cool guardian characters to help me along the way who are like, hey, you want to be this? And they just pop out and they help you be that very person that you want to be inside your heart. I mean, it took me years of struggle and, hardships to get to a point in my life right now where I'm like, I'm happy of who I am. I'm able to stand up more for myself and say, hey, you might be putting me in a box. That's not really a box I want to be in. But with that, you can be in a position like that where you're longing to change. I mean, Amu, even when she has these guardian characters, and even though they help her to be like this, where she's bright and cheery and upbeat, I love when she has a moment where she's like, stop. No, you're ruining my life. And it's like, how is she ruining your life? How are these guardian characters ruining your life? You're turning into the person you said you want to be. This is the wish of your heart. And she makes a comment, and I think she does it a few times, because it's a little bit of a struggle for like a few chapters, I think. She says, change is scary. And I'm like, girl, yes, the storytelling was so incredible. I could not, and I still can't get over that. I was not prepared just to feel my heart touched in a way that was more than like, this is really cool, she's a magical girl. And those parts were really cool, yes. But it's like, man, having things where even now, I do struggle with change. Not as bad as I used to be, but it felt like, man, that these creators just shared their stories in Amu or saw other girls and put it in Amu. I mean, it was really amazing of just how impactful her story was and how she transformed, and how, it, like I said, just seemed so simple of like, hey, you're the person you want to be, but it's like, what about who I used to be? Because not everything about who you were before you change is something you hate, like you want to grow as a bigger person. And I really love too how, I guess what probably I think would be like the second volume, since this is a 2-in-1 omnibus, of that she has these guardian characters. She can do things that she couldn't do as her normal self. Like a great example is they're talking about building a sandcastle for a competition. She at first is begging one of her guardian characters like, hey, just help me. I'll do so much better. I'll help my team. We could win the prize. Like, listing all of the good things. And this guardian character's like, no. And she's like, no. And she gets mad. This is after her, being more accepting of these guardian characters. And I love the growth we see in that, because by the end, near the end of that competition, she's still not the best. I thought it was fine, but she feels she did awful. But she says, I want to do this by myself. I don't want to have a guardian character help me, not in a prideful way, but in a way that, you have to accept it in your heart. And I really did love when there's times, or at least one time, where she's able, I think it was like after her first magical girl transformation, which was awesome. I need to watch the anime so I can hear the music and see how it looks in animation, okay? That was so cool. And so she has it, and then something happens where like she transforms back and she seems to have sort of like lost her energy, almost passes out. And they're like, well, what happened? Why did you transform back? And it's like, because you didn't believe in yourself. You didn't believe in yourself. And so that idea basically lost power in your mind. Hopefully I said that right. It didn't have as much strength. And I said, man, like, again, this volume just really hit my heart with these themes that were so much greater than what I thought would be this cute and fun, easygoing story. And yes, it is a fun story, but I will not be deceived next time that it will knock on my heart and really touch me in the now, not just when I was actively watching magical girl anime. Not that I'm too old or anything like that, not saying that, but I haven't watched Sailor Moon the same way I did as a girl where I was obsessed with her. And so I'm reading like, say, Magical Girl Downline, which is a magical girl manga. I have a first impression on this channel and an interview with the translator, which is awesome. Please go check it out because May's an amazing and terrific person. But I feel like, yes, those series have hit me and I love them and I read them, or specifically Magical Girl Downline I'm keeping up with actively. But this series completely caught me off guard, and I really understood why so many people treasure this manga, and I'm very thankful that Kodansha did this very beautiful colored pages and brought it back so that people like me who didn't have that opportunity to read it when the first run was happening, they now have that opportunity. This is one that I would definitely recommend. There's more color pages near the back, but for whatever reason, I'm not finding them in the second half. But I saw a thing about dreams, and I love that conversation. Man, it hit my heart. I teared up when there's another character that tells Amu that basically when you become an adult, your dreams sort of just vanish. Like, that's why adults don't have eggs the same way that these kids do. And I was like, well, gee. I'm like, man, I'm an adult. Like, surely I've got dreams and wishes too. And I love how Amu has this encounter with this individual, different person. And she asks them, do adults have to give up on these dreams that they have? Will they not have them anymore? Right here, right here, right here. And he's like, what? You can still have dreams when you're all grown up? Of course. And that's when he asks her about, like, what are you lost about of where she's at? I can't tell you where. And that's when she starts sharing that there was an adult who laughed at somebody else's dream and said that's just not a reality. And I really, really love what this person tells her. Like, one of my favorite quotes I put in my Goodreads review. He's a novelist, and he's explaining there's a storyteller secret that anytime at the beginning of these stories, Cinderella, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, none of them start out with everything. The main character is always lacking something at the beginning of their story. And that's when he goes on to say, any child who is lacking something can be the main character of their story. And I thought that was a very powerful way to sum up this story, or at least of what I've read of volume 1 and volume 2, because she feels she's lacking. And that's why she's our main girl. That's why she's so, I mean, not so cool, but like, it's cool to see her grow as an individual, to be again that person that she wants to be in her heart, that she dreams and thought would be impossible, but is starting to see, no, if she could believe in herself and believe that these dreams she had could be reality despite what people have said, even if it's not bad, it could really truly happen. I do want to mention one thing. I would have given this a glowing 5 stars online, but I did knock it down to 4 because I will admit that Ikuto, he is this character here. And a lot of people, I feel like in the circles I was in, was saying that this manga was very problematic. And I was really nervous because I'm pretty confident I mentioned this in my top 10 most anticipated releases of 2026. And I got caught up in some conversations, not me in them necessarily, but them seeing they were in my circles online where I could not get out of them. And I was really nervous. I was really nervous. I will personally say I do not feel it is as problematic as it is made out to be. I did not get the impression that there is grooming happening, which is something that was being thrown around very freely. And after reading, I don't feel that what it was. It did make me uncomfortable though, because there is an opening scene where you see him touching her all over, not necessarily in places he shouldn't be touching her, but it's still like, you did not get consent to touch her. And I get that he's looking for the eggs, he can smell them and he knows that she has them, so he's feeling her to try and fill the eggs. But there's other times where he's like really close in her personal bubble. I did find myself a few times wishing either Amu was aged up or he was aged down. I like his character in theory. I do not hate his character or anything like that. I think there is something special about him, and I think there's going to be a powerful thing that happens in the story that I am excited to see about him. But I don't want a romance, and there was only one panel or two panels in the like last quarter that I was really mad about, that I felt was implied innuendo, and I was not a fan, not okay with that. I just didn't feel it was necessary. Like, you didn't need to put that in the story. But outside of that, it wasn't a deal breaker. It's not I'm going to stop reading here, but it did at times leave me uncomfortable. So I just want to give a heads up about that, because it does seem to be a major thing when it comes to this story. And I'm not saying that it should be completely overlooked because the story itself, the themes are so powerful, but it's just something to be, I feel like, mindful of and aware of. Overall, I really, really love this manga. I wanted to get the other volumes, but it is a little bit higher price. It's $22 at retail. I feel like the rest of the year is just packed with things I'm very, very excited for, but not getting the next volume really crushes my heart. I want to see our girl's journey. I love the art a lot. It was a very special read, and I just don't see myself being like, well, I don't have any room on my budget, so I'm just not going to get it. I want to make space. Even if I can't get it upon release, I really do want to get the next volumes, especially because these covers are just so beautiful, and I love seeing Amu in this transformation on each of the covers. They're very beautiful. It's going to be 6 volumes for the Omnis, so I don't feel like it's a huge investment, and right now I'm really enjoying it and want to know what's going to happen. So yes, a big recommendation from me, and a very, really exciting, I feel like, win, and I'm so glad that I gave this a chance, and would definitely recommend it to other Magical Girl fans or people who are just looking for a series that has really great themes that, again, can just go beyond any age at all. The next manga that I read was Delirium, and I want to say a huge shout out to the creator, as well I should say Kodansha as well, because they gifted me this volume, not for in exchange for like an honest review. They just gifted it to me because they gifted my daughter some cat manga, which was really, really cool. And they're like, hey, can we include this for you? And I'm like, thank you. Thank you. And same as Delirium, the creator, I had saw my friend Maddie actually share I don't know if it's a new cover or a working cover. I will leave it here. Is it not stunning? Is it not amazing? And I saw this and I'm like, wow, I need to check this out. And the creator reached out to me and was like, hey, I'll send you a copy of my book. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I would be incredibly honored, and I didn't expect it to come as fast as it did, but it's here. So if you're not familiar with this, as I said, she is one of the International Manga Award winners. I can totally see why. It is about our main female lead. I gotta make sure I get her name right. Her nickname is Ko. She is a young woman. When the story opens up, we literally, like from the opening pages, we are told that something happens. She was a mermaid, and she has ended up on land. She can no longer swim. She's living with humans, but she still has this pearl heart. And the thing is, did they call him an evil? No, I think they call him a cruel prince. They did call him an evil prince. He discovers her heart. Some things happen. We're not fully sure of what it is in the beginning, but then we have sort of like this time skip where we're in the present, we're in the now, and we see that she is a drama teacher for, it seems to be like college age students who are on the verge of going to prison if they sort of don't get their life together. It seems to be some kind of school. I didn't get the idea that it was rehab. It felt like more of a school of sorts. Now though, her life seems to be on the up and up, is the impression that I am getting, but there seems to be ghosts of her past that are really coming back to, I wouldn't say haunting, this is not a scary story, but these ghosts from the past do not seem good news. And so unfolds of what is going to happen. And I really feel like the title of this is incredibly fitting, because there were times I wasn't really sure what was happening, which may sound, well, Lara, then were you confused? Not necessarily either. It was a very interesting experience because the storytelling itself is very gripping. And I do just want to insert This is a mature josei manga. It does have nudity, so if you check it out, just please be aware of that. I did really appreciate, I think for 3 of the chapters, the creator gives warnings or gives a heads up. I think it was the last one. Yes, this act, which that's what she calls her chapters, this act contains potentially triggering content. Please read with caution and take care of yourself. I did appreciate those warnings. There is some heavier language also in this than typically what I recommend on this channel, but I feel like the characters and the story were so engaging that I did not want to keep a review just in a reading wrap up. Y'all, this story was gripping, which brings me back to say is I didn't find anything confusing. I really enjoyed, because there's a lot of different things. The first one I guess would probably be cool, I could show this one, is throughout the manga there is splashes of red. When we first see that outside of like literally the opening page, oh well, we do see it too. We do see it here. You can see the X'd out, or it's more of like a splattered on the mermaid's face there, but also there is right here. This is one of the first encounters we see after we get like this introduction, and we see this, and I'm like, you know, I don't really know what's happening and why she has that, but I know it's not good news. I know it's not good news and should not be happening. And so you have these moments, because yeah, these next pages, we don't have it, but the red pops up, and when you see that splash of color, you know things are not good. I feel like it creates this little bit of eeriness where you don't really know what's happening, but you know that it's not good, that there's some kind of, and usually that's when we see the much younger her, because here I think she is 33, 31. I think it was 31. I think it's because there's character profiles at the back, which was awesome. So you're having this story that's being unfolded with that splash, that pop of red, but also there was like, there's moments, if I could find them, where it has poetry. And I was like, whoa. In fact, this morning I was rereading the manga because I really wanted to make sure I could do this manga justice, because I feel like I do not read, or have not read, excuse me, it's not my choice, but I feel like I haven't read much manga that is able to seamlessly give you the story and weave in poetry into the story where it's not confusing or feel abrupt, where it's like, okay, we have the story, then boom, we have this random poem. No, it's like, because like in this first one here, it says they are gone. They are gone to feed the roses, elegant and curled as the blossom. I know, into the darkness of the grave. Gently they go, the beautiful, the tender, the kind. Quietly they go, the intelligent, the witty, the brave. I know, but I do not approve, and I am not resigned. And how the creator was able to go from where we're having this moment of the character seeming to have a flashback to the now where it could be a tragic accident, to how the poem is able to show where it ends, and I am not resigned. I was like, dude, that was really cool. And it's not the only, and within this too, I could serve, you could see again, that pop of red right there. I just really loved that blending of it. But I guess too with the Delirium is there were times I'm like, we're getting this backstory. We see things from the past. I don't think when she's seeing these ghosts and they have the X, or what seems to be the ghost, I don't think they're real. But how they're conveyed from the female lead's perspective feels like they're there. Like a really great point, Ko has talked to somebody, okay, to an actual male, I think he's the male lead. He's the guy I am shipping with our girl here, and I will talk about him in a moment. But right here, so he had just left this stage, and I'm like, oh, he's grabbing her hand. You know, I'm like, that is really great. And then you turn the page and no, she's like, you're really back, aren't you? And that's when we see this person here. And I was like, oh my goodness. And just the way that this character keeps popping up leaves me questioning of, okay, like how real are these people? Like, I don't feel that they're real though, but it makes me question. It makes me question. I really hope that makes sense. And so that's why I said I don't feel like the manga is confusing in that it leaves you like guessing and wondering also of like, if it's not real and these are flashbacks that she's having, these flashbacks, these memories, and these things she thinks, they have a huge, mighty, firm grip on her heart. on her life where she is just not able to move on. And there's time too, like a different moment where the male lead helps her out. And this person, not the male lead, this character makes the reference, yeah, you're mine and mine alone. Do whatever I tell you and no one else will suffer. I'm like, no one else will suffer? So you have that, and that's about middle of the manga. I'm like, well, what's gonna happen now? Then I'm sort of like, I'm scared for the female lead because we do have these moments where I'm like, I think somebody is keeping tabs on her. And so I really just love how this manga is coming together of leaving you questioning, leaving you wondering, leaving you speculating, where you don't know. You don't know. And I actually last night, I was talking to the creator and I said, hey, you know, I would love to mention where people could go read the manga because unfortunately it's not available physically in the US. You can reach out to the creator. She does have a website. I will leave it down below. But you can read the entire series for free on her website. If you prefer Manga Dex, you can go read the first 3 chapters. She has it there, though I strongly recommend reading on her website because it goes past what is on there and past even what was in this volume because it goes up to Act 4. I read up to Act 7. Had to go message the creator. I was like, nervous laughter here about what just happened. And I guess it'll be a great time to say because the male lead, who I'm calling the male lead, honestly, I feel like depending on how the creator does this could be a love triangle because there is a guy at the beginning. His name is Troy, and Troy seems to have nothing but the best interest, the best things in mind for our female lead. But y'all, I was sus. I ain't gonna lie, I was sus. Man was a little bit too kind. He was a little bit too, he's right here. He was a little bit too nice, and I feel bad because I don't think this man has any bad intentions. I think he realizes he's sort of messed up and he could have actually been with the female lead. That would have been cute if that was the case, but we had a delinquent-like character. He's very rough around the edges, and he does get pretty wasted, and he does go beat up some people. But I really liked his character a lot. Because let me tell you something. Now, you guys know I love delinquent manga a lot, okay? But tell me, how many delinquent characters do you know that really love classic literature? How many do you know? Because this man right here, yes, he fully does. And I love that about his character. Like, done, sold. And let me just say, so he looks like this right here. But y'all, I know sometimes when we talk about shoujo manga, we talk about how these guys, so they got the haircut and they look worse after the haircut than they did before. I was already attached to him before. I ain't gonna lie. But he looked even better after he got the haircut. He looks like this. This is maybe not the best picture of him, but I really like his hair. Let me give you a, hold on, let me do the character profile one. Right here. He looks like this. And he looks great. He looks handsome, but y'all, after he got the hair, he looked really great. I'm very much shipping him though, you know, with the female lead. Wanted to show one of the chapter illustrations of him because it was excellent. It was excellent, and he looks so great. And I was like, friends, oh, like this one of my favorite panels. Oh, y'all, I'm shipping him so hard. I'm like, please creator, give us more. But I actually went on her Instagram and I went and I liked a whole bunch of different things that had them. Pretty much anything that I felt like she had this really cute reel of them. It was to some kind of voiceover meme that was going around. Oh, I loved it. I loved it, y'all. I cannot find it. I know it's right here. This is Act 2. We're Act 3. We're the start of Act 3. Because you guys got to see him. I think a lot of people will like him. He's a very, I feel like, honest character though too. And he knows when he messes up, and I appreciate how like he would say things because he just didn't want to stir up more drama. I'm like, okay, right here, finally. I knew it was coming, y'all. I knew it was coming. Look at this. Look at him. He looks so great. Even with his hair grown out a little bit, he looks fantastic. I'm like, please. I was very happy to see more of him in the chapters that she had on her website, but then somebody says something this time. I said, no. Get out. Though I guess I will warn, if you're not a fan of age gap, you might not ship them because there is some age gap there that happens. I really enjoyed the characters. There is one character that does use a little bit crass language for me, if that's the right word. And I was like, how many times are we going to mention what you're talking about? But I feel like actually it was in the chapters after this volume, again, online on our website, that I was like, wow. I was like, that was a nice redemption arc. And I really love, I guess maybe it's breaking the third wall of one of the characters. Like, that's the fastest redemption redemption arc that happened in manga. I said, I know that's right. I was here for it. I was here for it. So I enjoyed seeing that character grow. There is another character. Her name's Tanya. I don't know how I feel about that character. I feel like there's some characters that you just are not sure of the motivations, and she implies something after these chapters. I'm like, I didn't like you saying that. I didn't like you saying that. But I feel like she genuinely likes our female lead, so I can't dislike her character. But I'm like, girl, don't be stirring up things. Don't be stirring the pot. So I'm like, now I'm a little scared about other things. And I didn't need that in my heart. But we're talking about this volume. I do feel like this volume ends on a cliffhanger. Has that red that I mentioned, and they're like, why are you crying? And I'm like, if they're crying because I think of what's about to happen, I'll be crying too. So overall, and also too, before I wrap up what else I wanted to say, the art, I needed to take a minute, man. Y'all, this art is incredible. It is so good. I have talked about more than once, I've got a personal rule that I will not buy manga for the art alone. But honestly, it was the art that ultimately captivated me and had me like, yes, I want to read this. Also, I just have to say, this is one of my favorite lines of the manga. So he's telling her, his name's Martin, by the way, the male lead that I'm shipping, and hopefully thinking I'm not Delulu, calling him the male lead, is, we could just have some fun. Do you have to be such a bloody drama queen every time? And she says, if you want to have fun, go to the circus. I'm not a clown. I said, girl, I know that's right. Clap back, girl. Clap back at him. Because they were in the middle of like an argument right there. So that was why he said that. So really, I really liked that panel. That was definitely one of my favorite panels outside of the I Missed You. That was up there too. So for romance, I Missed You was #1. But yeah, the art is very stunning, and I would just definitely say try it online. She does have a Patreon. You can join her Patreon for free. I did so last night. I am so excited to see what is to come from this creator. It is very, very cool to, again, know she won the International Manga Award. I'm very interested to see where the series goes. I mean, I went online to read the other chapters, even though I told myself, I'm just going to wait. And I said, no, you know, I'm just going to go ahead, even though I don't have the time. And I definitely enjoyed it. I think the story is very engaging, very interesting. If you're not a fan of horror, but you don't mind, or you like a little bit of suspense, I think this one would scratch that itch very well. If you hopefully want a love interest that is a delinquent and likes classical literature, yes. Also, I forgot to I did mention that it did have the character profiles at the end. So if you like that as well, seeing more about the characters, that is great. And of course, if you like that splash of color to add that eeriness in, yes, this was really great. A huge shout out to the creator for letting me read this. I can't wait to see where it goes, and hope that if you check it out that you enjoy it as well. And then last but not least, I read volume 1, The Princess Keeper, and again, this, as I said before, was in my most anticipated releases of this month. If it wasn't officially in the top 5, it was in the top 10, okay? So it was up there in my heart at the very least. It is about our main female lead. Her name is Miranda. She is an apprentice witch who works at this shop, but the thing is her master has unexpectedly gone somewhere, and she doesn't know, so she's running on her own, and she does not feel that she really qualifies, but we see from the very start, the opening page, that she has a guy who's coming up to her. He appears to have no clothes on. And so she's like, what in the world is going on? Rightfully so. And so that's when we find out that she's invited to a royal tea party. And when she gets there, she's like, why am I here? Why would a witch be invited to this place? Apparently, all of the single ladies have been invited. The ladies are speculating like, well, hey, maybe for the third prince of our country who is not engaged is looking for a wife, looking for a fiance. But there's plenty of cats, like a lot of cats in this royal tea party in this greenhouse that they're in, and Miranda is just so like, that's why she went. Her objective was to see the cats. And so she's thriving in that, even though she's not talking to anybody, but she sees this one white cat that looks different than the other cats. For whatever reason, this white cat decides to hide under her skirts and stay there. So she's like, okay, it's a little bit weird, but she's like, all right, you know, stay well. We'll come to find out that the tea party, I think, is like 4 days long, and you can come back each day. And so sure enough, she comes back the next day, and the cat does it again. again, happens on the third day, and happens on the fourth day. And so she's like, okay, this is goodbye. She goes home, and the cat has followed her. And she's pretty nervous. She's like, dude, this cat belongs to royalty. I'm gonna get in trouble. But this cat seems very different. It's almost like this cat can actually understand her. And come to find out through Miranda's familiar that yes, this cat can understand her. So she ends up doing some kind of, I guess you would say, thing to help the cat speak to her as a human. And that's when he transforms, and that's when she realizes he's a prince and he has been cursed, and this cursed prince is asking Miranda to be the keeper of him, to help him turn back into a human permanently and fully, and not just temporarily, as seems to be the case. And so unfolds this first volume. This was so cute. This was very, very cute. I love the art of this as well, and I couldn't remember the story, though I will admit I was a little off guard about how magical it was. I don't want to say like it had a magic circle. I guess it did. And I wasn't quite prepared for there to be actual magic in this world, which might sound silly. I think when I came in, I thought it'd be like, in theory, she's labeled as a witch, sort of like I'm a witch and my crush wants me to make a love potion, where she doesn't have any magical abilities. She just makes like tonics and potions and whatnot and helps people through what seems suspicious ways. I thought it'd be the same way with this title, and that wasn't quite it. She does have actual magical abilities, and she does know about curses. There are spell books in this world. So maybe if you're not a huge fan of actual magic in your world, you may not necessarily enjoy this. But I was a little caught off guard by that. I liked the characters. I love Miranda. I love Miranda. She's great. It really wasn't until probably about halfway, where we're seeing our handsome prince a lot more on page, that I had the connection. I had the thought. I was like, you know, he really reminds me of Silver from Twisted Wonderland. And y'all, my heart was done for. That was all I needed. That was all I needed, was to make that connection, because there is another manga, I don't think I have it up here, but Reincarnated a Mafia Dating Sim. I am convinced that one of the guys in that series is Sebek, that is Sebek's cousin in that series, and Sebek is a character from Twisted Wonderland. So I guess it's sort of the same thing. I'm like, this is Silver cousin, they act the same, they almost look the same, really sweet characters, have a heart of gold, and it's really a great mystery because he's such a sweet guy. He's very, very gentleman. Goodness, treats Miranda amazing. He's very aware that Miranda gets nervous around him in human form, so he tries to stay a cat. Like, sweet, sweet guy. I have no idea who has what against him, but that is, I was surprised, saying that, I was surprised how mysterious this is, in that we don't know who has done this. And he's explaining what happened to him. They're trying to find answers, because he's like, well, you know, since you have magical abilities and you can do this and that, couldn't you just sort of override this curse so I'll stay human? And she's like, not exactly. Yes, she could. But there's this really interesting lore and world building for this magic that she's like, if I use so much magic, it will eventually start to poison you. So we need to find the original caster, the person who put this curse on you, to ask them to lift it, because even over time, with him staying as a cat long term, could also, I guess, affect his body in a negative way, where he could be magically poisoned. And I was very surprised by that we have magical rules that are being followed. It's not just like boom, 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 you know, doing magic here and there and everywhere. No, there's certain laws, I guess you would say, of this world that have to be abided in. And if they're not, well, things are going to go really bad, I guess you would say. As in, you know, with her, if she decides to use her magic on him to keep him human, it will have ill effects. So I really love how there is like, it's like a double-edged sword kind of thing, because yes, she's able to help him become human temporarily, but at the same time, he's still being a cat. So that was very fascinating, and I appreciate that it had some depth to the magic world building here that was happening. But yeah, you also have that mystery where you just don't know who it could possibly be. We haven't really met any other characters as a reader, so I don't even feel as a reader we really know, but the characters don't know either. And I did love, because Miranda has a familiar, Burn. Burn is a sweet little precious little bean, and I love this character, but I bring that up because Burn is also he's a cat familiar, trying to find a, well, I guess you could say that's Burn right there. And I was trying to find when he was in his human form, because he looks so cute. Here he is! Look at him! He's so adorable. He was so cute. I loved his character. We don't see a lot of him, but it was very sweet, very precious. But I love how when our male lead here, when he is in his cat form, that both him and Byrne are going to the cats in the neighborhood to try and gain intel of who it possibly could be. I really, really enjoyed that. It was in the art. Oh gosh, the art was just as fantastic. Really, really loved all of the moments. And I just want to say shout out to the person who did the lettering. I don't know if I can find a really good example that I should have marked it, but there'd be times where like, I think there was like a meow or something with a cat and there's like a little cat, hand-drawn cat paw. And I was like, that is too cute. So I really enjoyed that. And Miranda's character was fantastic. She's so sweet and sweet girl doesn't know how powerful she actually is. And it's just a shame because you can see that she is. I mean, girl is creating, what was it, sugar cubes that get rid of fatigue. You put the sugar cube like in milk or something you're drinking before bed and it will help get rid of the fatigue. I said, girl, I need that. I didn't sleep well last night, so I would love something like that. There was also something for, I know there's one with chocolate that gets rid of anxiety. I'm like, I don't even like chocolate, but hello, I would eat that. And there was another one that was like candy that gets rid of anxiety or helps with life changes or something. Yes to all three. I'm like, girl, how can you not see how powerful you are to make these things and to help the community? And I did love that the people that we interact with that are around Miranda, they really love her and they see how much good she's doing for the community, but she's just like thinking in her mind, I just need my master to come back so they can have the real deal and not a knockoff pretty much who doesn't have the same power as she does and can help the people the same way. I'm like, girl, no. Girl, you're great. You're great how you are. So she was a very sweet little being. I loved her a lot and I loved how she loves books. I can say that I've never read a manga that has much talk about underwear, making underwear as I did in this series. And it's funny to know the novelist, the original light novelist, mentions how this is what inspired the whole series. And I said, ain't that something? Ain't that something? So that was really funny and really great. And oh my gosh, this moment here, y'all, I need that romance to sail. I need the ship to just sail on the horizon. Happy things. I don't know what's going to happen though. I'm very, very curious. I love the characters and very intrigued by the story. There seems to be danger on the front step, literally. So hopefully everything's going to be okay the next volume. I do already have it pre-ordered. And yeah, I'm very thankful that this got printed physically in English. If you're looking for a cute, fluffy fantasy, hopefully will be romance, I definitely think this is it. Again, too, if you want some depth to your magic and to the magic lore and the world building, this one is it. And really great art, this one is also it. So as you can see, I really enjoyed these three reads. I'm definitely glad I gave them all a chance and came back to this one, even though I didn't remember it the first time at all, or after the first time. This was a really great reading, first impression, I guess you would say, and hopefully I was able to do each story and manga justice. I would love to hear from you, friends, though. Which one sounded most interesting to you? Have you read any of these? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!